Yo, what's up, guys? Mike from Boston Card Exchange getting after it. We got a PSA reveal today, 12 card submission of 1977 top Star Wars cards, range from series 3 to 5. So it's yellow, green, and orange. These cards have gotten very popular recently. They have tons of collectors of both the entire set and the main character cards. So mint and gem examples can go for big sums. And even some near mint 8s can do really good as well. So we'll get started. 12 cards, 10s are very big hits. We're talking like $500 to $1,000 plus for those. 9s are usually talking low mid figures, sometimes up to the, low 3 figures, sometimes up to the mid 3-figure range. Just some really nice cards in a packed set. So here we go. First one up. This is a number, 263, The Courage of Luke Skywalker. This one got a 9. Very happy with this one. There's been a few of these sales recently, kind of ranging from $70, like $115 in the last 12 months. There's one listed at $119. So I think I'm gonna list this one for about 100. And I'm gonna list this one maybe around like that 110, 120 range. And if it comes back and I get 100 for it, I'll be pretty happy. But this one was an excellent contender. Had it in that 9 to 10 estimated range. You always want to hit a 10, but you won't be too displeased if you hit a 9, because 10s are, you'll find this out. 10s are sometimes feel like just as much luck as skill, as they would say. So if you get a 9 on this, you can be very happy. But this one right in the range we expected. So there's one. Putting them here. Next one up. This is an R2-D2, number 253. This one got a 9. Again, expecting this one to be 9 or maybe a 10. I mean, when I listen like this, 8, 9, 10 like that, 9 is my biggest estimate. 8 is like a maybe, 10 is a maybe. You can really never really guess that you're gonna hit a 10. The 9 was the one I was really expecting to hit on this one. Corners were amazing. Edges were amazing. A little bit OC, tiniest bit where it probably wasn't gonna be a 10 left to right, but this thing was a scorcher. So got a 9 on this one. Very happy with that. 9s of this, a number of recent sales, about like the 75 to 110, 120 range. There's 2 listed starting at 199. So again, if I get around 100 for this, I'll be very happy with it. And there's like a little bit more room in this one just because not a lot of competing listings, but very excited about that one. Third one, let's see. This is the Stormtrooper, got a 9 on this one. Was expecting a 9. Was very was very strict with ones I was sending in on this submission. So had to have amazing centering, was hoping for shots at 10s. This one, the main flaw on it was they do like kind of a 3-tiered left, right, and top centering instead of doing the left, right versus top, bottom on these. So this one was like maybe like a little bit off where it would have been hard to hit a 10, but still had a shot. But 9 was a great grade for this. Like the other ones, there's been a few sales of it kind of in this like 70 to 110, 120 range. None listed right now. So, hey, if we get 100 on this, we're going to feel really good about it. And that's great on these like $100 9s and these, low tiered submissions on PSA always feel real good. Next one, Darth Vader. This is one of there's a couple Darth Vader cards in this set. This is the, the full length, full costume one. This one we got an 8. I was expecting an 8 with an outside shot and a 9 on this one. Just the, great card, but corners weren't quite what I wanted. Edges weren't quite what I wanted for a 9, but still a profitable card in an 8. There's been some recent sales up to about $75 in this one, and the available ones start at 70. So if I got like 50 to 70, 75 on this, I feel really good. Was about the expectation on this one. Would have loved to hit a 9. 9 Vader stuff starts to get really high. Like if you're talking like $50 to $100 8s, the 9 will go for multiples of that. So the 8 being profitable, that's pretty much a no-brainer to send that one in. So 8 would have loved a 9, but about what we expected in this one. So still pretty happy to hit an 8 in a profitable card. Up next, we have a big hit. This is number 290. Chewie Aims for Danger in a Gem Mint 10. We were thinking probably 9 on this one, just because, like I said, you can't just be predicting and trying to call you can call your shot if you want to. I've definitely done it before. This one I was like, hey, got a shot at a 10, and this was definitely one of the better shots at 10s that were in this submission. Looked at everything very closely on this one. Corners were immaculate. which is one of the main problems. I wasn't sure if some of the stuff on the surface was snowing or if it was just part of Chewbacca's costume. I'm guessing they agreed with me that it was part of Chewbacca's costume, but the main problems you see on these are their paper cards, cardboard from the 70s, so they're just like a little bit touched up. Centering is always an issue on this kind of stuff, and then especially with 70s cards, you just have this like printing imperfections, whether it's like snowing or fish eyes or on certain cards you'll see smudging, not really on these. There's much more of a matte finish than some other cards Topps did in the 70s. But those tend to be the main thing, and this one looked amazing. So if you were going to call your shot, you would call it on this one, and maybe one or two other ones in here, but we are extremely happy with a 10. This is why you send stuff in. This one, there are none sold of this in the last 3 years. There are none even listed. They're none listed right now. I might ask up to 1,500 on this. I might even go up to 2,000, just see what happens. There's nothing wrong with just going high and then drawing your way back down, especially if you don't want to leave like a lot of money on the table. So that's probably going to be my strategy here. If I ended up getting 500 to 1,000 on this, I'd be extremely happy with it. So you might as well, you know, shoot big, see where you end up. But this is a very, very big hit. None have sold in the last 3 years. None are listed. This is going to be very, very sought after by the set completers. So this one, extremely happy with. Huge, huge hit. Next up, actually we got two of these, so I'll just bring them both out. We have two of these Vaders. This is like the more signature Vader, the one that's like a bit more in demand than the one that you just saw, and there's another one coming up in here. So these both got 8s. These are great cards in an 8. One of these I was hoping would get a 9. I can't remember which one. I think it's this one, but now I'm not really sure. But one of them was like right just below the edge of 60-40 centering. These ones both got 8s because they're just a little bit off center. They're both in that 35 to 40 versus, they're both in the 35-65 to 40-60 range, so they weren't going to get 9s. I think it was this one had just like a shot at it, where it was like, it might have been like 39.8 to 60.2, something like that. And I was like, well, maybe if they mess up the measuring, or if they felt generous that day and they bump it up, that, you know, maybe you could pull a 9 on this. The 8s are still, I mean, I was expecting 8s on this. Like this one right here, Vader 1 and Vader 2, both hit 8s. Both was really expecting 8s. 7, of course, that can always happen. You can always miss something or disagree with the grader. 9s would have been amazing on these. But can still be very, very happy with an 8. They usually sell, these are very liquid. There's been like 40 sales of these in the past year. Most in like the 50 to 100 range. The lowest listed is like 125. So I'd love to get around 100. And if you're talking about getting $100 for an 8, this is a huge card. The 9s would have been amazing. That would have been one of the bigger hits in here. You can see them going for like $400, $500, $600. So that would have been nice, but man, if you're talking about hitting an 8 and getting $100 on it, you did really, really well. So nothing to complain about here. Very, very happy with how these turned out. What we expected, and yeah, no, would have loved a grade up surprise, but the fact that they didn't hit 7s is always feels like a bit of a win, especially with PSA lately. We have our second big hit of this submission. Gem Mint 10, number 324, Chewy takes a breather between scenes. No one's really looking for this card in particular unless you're a set completer. But this is, again, this is a big hit. This one and the other one were really the ones where if you wanted to like try to call your shot on what would be the 10, this one and the other one hit a 10 would have been it. This one, the centering is not perfect. Like the left to right is like a tiny smidge off, but the corners on this were immaculate. The edges were immaculate. There's almost no print imperfections on the surface of the card. So this one had a real strong shot. This one, there's been one sale in the last 10 years. It was an auction, went for $518. There are none listed. I might ask again, like 1,000, 1,500 on this. If I get 500, 600, 700, I'll be very happy. I'd love to get 1,000 on this. But when you start pulling 10s out of these, it kind of reminds you why you send these in, because this single card more than pays for, not even talking like the value, the cost of the submission, but you just start talking about like real big multipliers. So if you think you got something that has a shot at a 10, no brainer, you send it in. And then when you hit, even when you have to get, it feels like you have to get a little bit lucky sometimes, especially in the 70s, but when you hit, man, you're talking big payouts. So this was a really nice one to get. So that's our second 10 of the submission. Extremely happy with it. This one is this is not the error version of this. The other one's called the goldenrod. So those of you that are familiar with the C3PO card, number 207, there's another one where there's like a piece of his costume that ends like right here at the hip. There's another version, the error card. This is the corrected version where it goes a little bit up further. Looks like, they call it the goldenrod version. Go look it up. Go look it up if you're curious about what it means and what it looks like. But that one is a big money card. These sets that I bought unfortunately did not have the quote error version of it, but these are still a nice card. I did not expect this to hit. I mean, I threw down an 8 here, but I was really expecting a 7, and a 7's a totally fair grade. This centering is just way too off right here. This is like a 2 to 1, so that was gonna be a 7 all day. Maybe get lucky and then bump it up to an 8, but this is gonna be a 7 almost no matter what. A 7 here sells in like the 50 to 75 range. So if I hit 50 to 75 bucks on a 7 from the 1970s, man, you're feeling really, really good. So again, very profitable card. Totally happy with it. Would have loved to get an 8, but hey, if you're cranking out cards that are profitable as 7s like that, you got to be feeling really good. So this is a nice card to get. Very happy with it. What we got next for y'all? Yeah, number 251, an overjoyed Han Solo. This one got a 9. Again, was expecting 8, 9, expecting a 9. You can always think maybe to hit an 8. 10 was always a possibility with this. Not sure why I didn't get a 10. Hard to argue with what a grader may or may not have seen. But this is, again, a great card. 3 recent sales of it in this like 75 to like 125 range. The lowest active one right now on eBay is like 229. So that leaves like a little bit of room to like maybe try to go for a higher price and just find someone who wants to pick it off right now and not have to wait. So, I mean, if I hit 100 on this, I'll feel pretty good, but I think there might be like a little bit more room in here. So I might start asking a little bit higher, but again, if we get 100 on this, we're feeling real good. So that was a nice one right there. What we got next, just a couple more for y'all. Number 249, Ben Kenobi, Obi-Wan, Alec Guinness. This one hit an 8. Too bad. This one I figured would be an 8 or a 9. This is one that you submit because, the 8 you're going to do fine on. You'll probably just break even, but the 9 is about $100 card. So you take that shot. I mean, I like to take that shot every time if you think it's 50-50. The centering was not perfect. That was the main issue with this. I guess like some surface defects on here that you think maybe put it on the borderline of an 8 or a 9. And I would guess that combination of just like not perfect centering and, enough wrong with the surface, like this fisheye right there, and just like a little bit of like snowing and spotting is what gave it the 8. But, would have loved a 9 on that. Would have been a more profitable card, but this will probably just go into a lot and, just try to get as much of our money back as we can. Let's see, last one. This is number 235, just the Luke Skywalker card. So these ones, again, the character cards, when you start hitting 9s and 10s, they get very, very valuable. This one, they just have a lot of demand. Anything that has Luke Skywalker on it, as opposed to just something that, has behind the scenes or like a not really major feature part of the film or not a feature character. These do much better than those kind of like generic filler cards in the set. Again, would have loved a 9 on this, kind of the same as the Obi-Wan, just not like really perfect centering, although now I'm looking at the surface, there isn't really, this one looks a little bit better than the Obi-Wan I'm comparing it to, but the centering seems like that was probably the main issue here. But just like the Obi-Wan, this will probably go into a lot. Not a very profitable card in an 8. Maybe you could make a few bucks, but on the 8s, I just want to kind of crank them out, get as much of my money back as I can, and then move on to the next and focus my time on the cards that are going to generate a little more revenue. So that one got an 8. And yeah, that ends the submission. So that was awesome. Very successful submission. A lot of really, really nice hits. Lots of 9s. Couple 8s, or excuse me, plenty of 8s, but valuable 8s, hit a couple 10s even. Very, very happy with how this turned out. So anyway, that'll be it for today. Hope you guys liked it. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Peace, y'all.